next panel, which we hope to make the last panel for the evening, is what I refer to as mortgage modification and other myths. It's Halloween, scared. Mortgage modifications are kind of these Frankenstein monsters that, if you ask me, they don't exist. Let me tell you why. Everybody has heard the phrase mortgage modification. So much so that, honestly, it's kind of taken on a life of its own. Falling behind on your mortgage? Mortgage modification. House is underwater? Mortgage modification. Sprinkler system isn't working? All right, well, maybe not that, but the first two. Here's the reality about mortgage modification and other techniques, okay? Technically, a modification is what happens after a temporary period of lower payments. The lower payment, which could result because the mortgage itself is being strung out or because the interest rate is being lowered, or technically because the bank has decided to reduce the amount of principal it expects, which is, you know, don't hold your breath. But the idea of mortgage modification is you get a temporary break, it becomes a permanent break. Okay? I'm not about to tell you that doesn't happen. It does happen, but the percentage of situations in which I've seen it happen is minuscule. Okay, if you're going to go through what we'll refer to as a modification, what forms could it take? Well, you have your principal deferral. This is very common, and especially common among you know, sort of solid middle-class borrowers who, it could be anything from they were out of town and they missed a payment to the dog ate their checkbook. It could be anything. This principal deferral is what I'm talking about. It's simply a matter of the bank saying, okay, you missed a payment, here's what we're going to do. We're going to throw it on the end. Just make your next payment. Exactly the same as the first one. Nothing's changed. It'll come out in the wash. Okay? Then you have your partial reinstatement, which means, okay, we know you're behind. And by the way, I should mention, I've had clients go through each and every one of these. We know you're behind. We'll give you 12 months to make it up. Or we'll give you, the maximum is 18 months. It's good because you don't need to get courts involved. You don't need to do anything extreme. But it's a burden. Okay, I mean, if your normal mortgage payment, let's say, is $2,500 a month, and you fall behind, oh, I don't know, 2 payments, that's an extra $5,000. You're going to have to spread that out over 5 months, 6 months, 12 months. You're paying up to $1,000 a month extra? Where's that coming from? Okay, so banks are not real generous when it comes to letting you make up a missed payment. But it's good to know that that's theoretically possible. That's partial reinstatement. Forbearance. This is actually what many people think about when they think of mortgage modification. They think of the bank, it's, for lack of a better description, simply letting them slide for a couple of months. Hey, you know what, guys? It's a bad time for me. You know, why don't you talk to me in 3 months and maybe I can pay you then? Forbearance technically means the bank allows an owner to skip payments or make lower payments. Beware. This is something we were talking about earlier this evening off camera. Unfortunately, it is a documented fact that many times when a bank says they will give you a forbearance or let you skip a payment or pay less than the full amount, that very underpayment, the one that they suggested, becomes their excuse for putting you into foreclosure. I realize this sounds crazy. It's like saying, hey, go pick that up. And when someone picks it up, you say, why'd you pick that up? Banks are doing this all the time. Forbearance, and of course, our favorite, true mortgage modification, a change in the terms of the original mortgage, usually the interest rate. This concludes the section that we're going to talk about in this session. I hope it's been informative. I want to thank my sponsors and my guests, and I want to invite you to contact my office at 630-378-2200. My name is Mazy. I'm a lawyer here in Romeoville, Illinois. I welcome your questions. You can also reach us by email at mhedayat, that's M-H-E-D-A-Y-A-T, at mha-law.com.